Like, so, boy, we were waiting on some expenses to come in. Normally the recap is, this thing is just not quite. But we finally received what we really needed to receive, sort of delayed by a couple weeks, the normal presentation, but what a day we had. Always, of course, highlighted by the kids' races. And that's not it, Joe. Okay. Talk amongst yourselves. Let's try that. That's not it. Hey, you guys know the tune. I want that advance. What'd you do? Over here. Oh, that one. Thanks. All that presidential experience finally paid off. All right. 7 years of college down the drain. Okay, so hey, we kicked things off Friday before the Criterium. This is the second year for this. The Barricade Brigade showed up, and we had a great time with that. Big Shark brings over about 2,100 feet of barricades, and we had a nice crew of people show up for that on Friday. We started at the lot between Source and the butcher shop. See Elizabeth there in fine form. Look at that crew. So that was after the event, and everyone took a picture right there on the newly paved 2nd Street and celebrated. And we got that moved out in about an hour, hour and a half, and had a lot of fun with it. You all remember that for next year when we're looking for volunteers that night. Even Cubby the dog made it. So Cubby's getting to be a legend or a regular in the club. So volunteers, we had 155 volunteer slots filled by 120 volunteers and the wrestlers, and probably had our best year. John, you'd have to comment on that. Maybe the easiest yet to date on filling those slots and the marshaling. And so it was a wonderful organizational effort on John's part and everyone that helped out. And speaking of Rich Walker, he took a picture of me while I'm trying to dry the band stage after that rain that flushed us and caused some havoc. SJ, you were there. Rich was there. I was thinking to myself as I'm wiping electrical cords in water that this may be my last Criterium for obvious reasons. My hair is curly enough as it is, but I was about to get shocked. So SJ, myself, and Rich ran down to the Wildy to get a tub of towels and a mop, and then ran back and got the stage dried. And then the band came back on a short time after that. And it didn't really delay us too much as far as the entertainment zone. You all might recall this was a month before the Criterium. I was stopping over there about every 30 days, and my panic level it never hit red line, but at times, I think I texted Matt Tall after this and said, it's 30 days, looking a little rough. Are we gonna make it? He said we were gonna make it. That's 2nd Street, shooting down 2nd Street. Look at that, that's 30 days out before the event. And then we ended up with this. Isn't that amazing? Just a great job by the city, Keller Construction. I can't tell you the number of compliments we had with the racers. Just astonished that could get done and be that smooth compared to the previous year. That's going into the turn onto College. And Ryan Clellan's wall of hay that he builds with the volunteers to do that. That's quite a structure to put that together. But came in handy one time. We had a rider literally go head into those bales. He was okay, and then the racing began. We kicked off about 20 minutes late. We'll work on that with the city for next year and make sure we get started at 3 o'clock, but it was a little bit unnecessarily, in my opinion, delayed to get going. It really messes things up. We only have 5 minutes between races, and it can just kind of mess with things. They have to shorten some races to stay on schedule. These cyclists really want their race is going to start at 4:35. They're going to be ready to go at 4:35. So, but hey, we kicked off. Clancy did a good job of bringing everything in on time and early. So that's great. We're down to a pretty good system with them. We had 233 cyclists from 85 cities and 15 states. The 15 states might be a record, or SJ, I think it was 14 might have been our all-time high. But you think about the economic impact of that in word of mouth, and those are the states. I mean, what a variety as far as California and Oregon. But if you just kind of sense what that means, to the area, and it means a lot. I mean, it absolutely does. The cycling winners are listed here. More than anything, not really their names that you'll be so familiar with, but quite a variety. We even had a local from the Masters B50 plus, Michael from Glen Carbon, some Louisville winner, Lee Summit. Probably one of the most interesting aspects of the race was a husband and wife won the respective women's pro and men's pro race. So Ariel and Aaron Beebe from Indianapolis. Intelligencer did a really nice, in fact, they really did a nice job this year on especially their e-edition, stories about the crit, winners, just lots of things. Still up actually on the editors or the Intelligencer site. If you subscribe to that, you can read more about it. And they did a whole story on Ariel and Aaron coming in from Indianapolis. And the wife, just a little recap here, she says, it's so cool to be at a regional level race and have this much community and good energy here. Thought that was a great comment on her part. He added, I would love to be back here. It's been nice. We go to a lot of criteriums, and this was a really enjoyable course. You can tell the organizers put a lot of care into this. That's, he knows he's a pro racer, and first time here, it really stood up. And then he ends it with saying, there's nothing quite like the thrill of going around the corners at night going 30 miles an hour. Just like side comment, that's a good thrill. So that was cool. That was a great story out of the event. The dash had 67 participants, mostly running. We had some walkers this year. We added that as the theme to the dash was, if you can fog a mirror, you can do the dash. So it did bring in a few more participants this year. And the winners for the dash were basically local individuals, Tyler and Stephanie from Bunker Hill. Always the highlight of the event is the kids race, 130. We've seen that swing anywhere from under 100 to close to 200 through the years. Boy, the 4 to 6 age group which is this group, that was massive. I mean, that was a huge group. And as always, Arrow, the MC, does a marvelous job. He gets his Chariots of Fire music going, and they come down, and then he just starts calling out. There's a pink helmet, our first pink helmet winner. If you go on the Facebook site for the Criterium, many of you, I'm sure, have been on it. There's a lot of good video recaps of the finishes of the kids race, and you can hear Arrow, our great MC, announced that. The kids zone was just a smash hit, again, with free ice cream, free root beer, the art tent with a little bicycle decorating involved with that. And it was great. I mean, that's a nice spot, place to have the kids zone. The entertainment zone, the first community sponsored that this year, and Hortica did the music stage. Thank you for that. That's Perry Band warming up before things kind of got started, and Chick Fritz donated the beverages. So that was a tremendous effort, helped our bottom line tremendously. And they did a great job of doing it. I tell you, that was a busy beer trailer. They did not, there was hours on end where there was constantly purchases of the tokens. So I think we found a good spot for that. Probably need to add a food truck or two in there for next year. We did have one back out last minute, so we were going to have 3. We had 2, but the steering committee, we'll get that figured out. But it was a great atmosphere. I sort of reached the point where, you know, you kept looking at the radar. There's storms all around, and I did a lap, and I came down Main Street, and I swung into Big Daddy's. And the owner's there, they're high-fiving me. I mean, they're having a great time. Art's in there, he's having a great time. And I walked out in the parking lot, started heading back to the entertainment zone. And I thought to and it's just packed and the music is cranked. And you kind of reach this point where you're like, we did it. And all of a sudden, drop of water just hits me right in the mouth. And I thought, it's not rain, is it? And then, you know, like this, and it big drops, you know, like thumbnail size drops. And before I could even get across the street, I mean, it just absolutely came unglued. And fortunately, there's only 10 minutes. It causes a lot of chaos. People aren't, you know, start finish line, power went down. That's a mess. Racers kept racing. And, but it was just, and it really didn't flesh out the entertainment zone. People kind of went to the tents, the Busey VIP tent. You know, people ran under it. So it all worked out. It is a bit of a havoc when those things happen, but hey, we fought through it. The volunteers were there. Everyone stood their ground, and the rain itself caused no issues with the riders. We had no accidents because of wet pavement. They're pretty amazing to do that. Right? Everyone's like, geez, okay, come on, we want to open the presents, right? Special thanks this year to Tim Haar, Steve Grant. They tripled their efforts. They got behind some creative ideas for making the ask for the sponsorships. Great team effort. A lot of you and here in the club sponsor the event itself. So thank you. Of course, Busey, the title sponsor, has been in here 5 or 6 years. I should know that right off the top of my head. An amazing support level all these years. But we had some special stuff happen this year. Number one, that looks like a huge number. Last year was huger than that for expenses. It's an expensive event, and we were pretty lean this year. There was some stuff, I think back on it, maybe 1,000 or 2, but not a lot. You're like, God, can we cut that back another 20? No, I mean, you just can't cut. I mean, I don't really know what we would do for that. So it's a quality event, and we're gonna keep it that way for sure. And safety, you know, $4,400 for barricades. But just one mess up, you know, and we don't do that, then that's a problem. Look at that revenue number, $110,000 up, basically $9,000. If you want it to, John. Yeah, he's already got it there. Yeah. So we were at 101 last year. Sponsorships were, of course, up quite a bit. You saw that at the rally we had, and then beverage revenue was up a bit from last year as well. So that's where that came from. Okay, let's have a little fun here. So I stole a playbook from SJ. Remember you did this, SJ? So you will in a minute. So would you next one down? I got 6 volunteers. I'll start with you 3. All right. Chad. John, you want to come on? Squeeze in there, John.
You bet.
Okay. So let me see here. Move that. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start here with Chad, and you're going to turn your number over and hold it up. And this is going to be our net profit for the Criterium. Chad, you go ahead. Joe, Mark, John, and Madam President. Please. Keep that as a souvenir for what? Oh. Okay, so Mark says I didn't see it. Yeah, just amazing. I kind of had to look at that number a couple times. You know, I knew we were going to be into the 30s, but we had some last expenses that needed to come in. But that's big. We were at 24 the last 2 years. You know, I started thinking, when am we going to get into the 30s? And we just blew past the 30s, you know. But we need to keep it going. We need to keep on it. We need to be creative with sponsorships. We need to be cognizant of expenses and keep those lean where we can and spend it where we should. And, you know, I always thought this event could be $100,000 plus revenue, gross revenue event, and it's there. And now you just start thinking bigger. You know, Citrus has struggled a bit. We'll get that number back up. We will. It'll happen. But this has suddenly turned into what we thought when the Criterium started. Oh, this will never replace Citrus. Remember those comments, SJ, about, you know, it'd be a good event. Maybe we'll make $5,000, $10,000 and have some fun. So it's really turned into a critical thing for our giving. So we are, after 12 Criteriums, knocking on the door of $220,000 of profit over those 12 years. So thank you all. I thank volunteers and all of you that stood in for the event when we did the rally. I've kind of gotten away from just trying to name everyone that helped out with the event. I'm afraid to miss someone. You know who you are. We don't do this so that you can get your name thrown. We don't. I hope you don't do it so you can get your name thrown up there. And it's a great team effort, and we're going to keep it up. We've got a few things to work on for next year, nothing major, and look forward to another great Criterium. Dan, you got a quick question? What's the date of the event? Well, it's the third Saturday in August. So if you look on your calendars, you can see when that is. So you think I might have that date off the top of my head. It's the what? The 19th, August 19th, 2023. Okay, thank you all. Great job.